Well, jeepers! You're listening to Smash or Pass.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our New Year's special interview on the JayBee and Milly channel. I'm JayBee, and joining me is Milly.
Hi.
And returning guest, we have Mr. Peter New. Thank you so much for joining again.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So it is an
Happy New
honor.
Year.
Yeah, Happy
You
New
too.
Year. It's
I
so
know,
cool. It was so great that you agreed to do this so that we could almost bring the podcast full circle throughout the year. So it
Yeah.
is incredible to kind of invite you in with the new format. Now, for people watching this, I guess they'll primarily be Scooby fans, so they could recall you as a Daphne Tattoo Fan in Scooby Doo 2, but also as Jay, kind of the main villain of the ScoobyNatural crossover, which is absolutely phenomenal. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining. I guess I want to
Pleasure.
do a little bit of a catch-up session as of, what you've done since the last episode. And one of the main things that I can see there is as Bobby in 3 episodes of Riverdale.
That's
So
right.
in terms of Riverdale, what was that whole experience like?
Oh, I had a ball. That it's fun to sort of bring yourself into a show that has got its wheels greased. It's knows what to do. It's rolling. It's not still sort of figuring out its kinks, like it was just like slotting yourself into a well-oiled machine and away you go. And I had a ball because I got to, I mean, Bobby was kind of a gangster type of guy, and I just like there was a moment on the set on the first day we were shooting that I just had this impulse to shush the guy talking, the other actor that was playing the other gangster. I just shut him up with my hand, and I was like, from then on, I'm like, okay, I'm the boss. That's fun. So it was fun to just kind of take that kind of power and in character and sort of steer it through the entire shoot. It was really fun.
Oh, see, that is absolutely amazing how there's all these different nuances in that show. It's just kind of surprising considering that it's almost, I guess it's based off the Archie comics and it's kind of
Yeah.
brought into the contemporary era and designed to be a bit grittier. And so in terms of like before your work on Riverdale or anything, how familiar were you, if at all, with those original Archie comics?
I mean, I guess I used to read them when I was a kid, sometimes. They were never my favorite, I guess, but they certainly entertained me briefly at a certain point in my life for a couple of years, I guess. I mean, I
And
knew
do
that
you...
I was familiar with the characters. I knew,
Yeah.
when my scene was with Reggie's primarily, and so I knew who Reggie was supposed to be, and I thought the guy that plays Reggie did a good job, and it was fun to challenge him as well because I just decided I had more power than he did, which is fun to do with one of the leads on a show.
Yeah, Miss Comet like taking in and taking over the whole
Yeah.
scene. It's just incredible. It
Yeah.
just seems like there were a lot of good memories that spawned from your time working on Riverdale. But do you have one in particular, or maybe a handful of favorite memories from your time working there?
One of the things that I enjoyed was that a friend of mine was one of the ADs, so I just got to sort of I made her escort me around the set sometimes as a goof, right? Like she was in on the joke, but pretended I didn't know where I had to go, and she was like, "Oh, can I take you?" And we would, go around. So it was fun, just fun to have a friend on the set and to be able to play all day, even when the cameras weren't rolling.
It does sound amazing. And of course, as JB was saying at the start, a lot of, I guess, kind of how we initially, grew to love you was through Scooby Doo. And I guess kind of a thread between you is that you play Jay in Scooby's kind of darker version, been ScoobyNatural. So in case some people watching didn't see the initial interview, can you just tell us again, how you got that role and what it was like being on set?
On ScoobyNatural?
Yeah.
It was a thrill. I mean, I got to say the line, in the audition. I got to say I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you kids, and that's a dream for any actor, I think. So I just kind of milked it. I recognized that it was going to be part cartoon, so I thought I could afford to be a little cartoony, and went to the audition, and I guess they liked it. And then being on set was another dream. Like those main three guys on Supernatural are just terrific and supportive and funny, and they're just a pleasure to work with. And they sort of make, I think it's important when the person in the lead, or the persons in the lead positions are supportive and engaged with the day players that come in. It can be hard to do because it can be exhausting to just meet another face and meet another face and meet another face. But when people can do that, it just buoys the whole set, as far as I can tell. So it makes it a dream to work on, and I had a great time.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying there, it was really interesting, been across mediums, like you say, both on set, voiceover, and also, like, you know, that you say there's some people that are there kind of every episode kind of thing, from both aspects of things coming together. And so, do you remember when it aired, you know, if you watched it back at all?
Oh, I did. Yeah. It was fun. I couldn't wait to see it. I was thrilled. I mean, I love being part of the Scooby universe. I got a huge kick out of being on a, you know, having been Daphne's tattooed fan number 2. I got a huge kick out of sort of coming full circle on ScoobyNatural and getting to be part of the Scooby action, even though I wasn't animated.
Yeah, I mean, it was great to see kind of, like you say, the link of coming back there and everything. And I guess kind of initially we kind of see your character in the more live action side of things. Was there ever any discussions about being able to transport you into the cartoon world as well?
Not by the time I was participating in it. I think those kinds of discussions would have had to have happened maybe up to a year ahead of time. I know that when I got there, they had already recorded the voice for the animation, and I imagine the animation was well on its way, because that takes time. It takes longer than it does to get the live action put together. So so if there was any discussion about bringing Jay into the voiceover world, I think that would have happened at the writing pre-production stage.
See, that would have been interesting to see that kind of thread there. But as you say, at the end, there is definitely a more cartoony aspect to even the live action stuff, of course, with Dean, with the ascot on it.
Yeah.
It is just such an amazing scene. I just can't count the amount of times we've watched that special. But I mean, last interview we asked you about your favorite member of the Scooby Gang. So I guess this time we're gonna give a new aspect of that and ask you if you have a favorite one of the Winchester brothers.
Oh, I wasn't ready for that question. I don't know that I've ever really thought about having a favorite Winchester brother before. I guess I've always kind of been partial to Sam. I sort of relate to he seems like he's a bit of the underdog, I guess, and I kind of relate to that. So
yeah,
I like that. I guess there you go. Sam. But
it's
Dean's cool too. What do you want? Dean's great.
It's a good choice. I guess they kind of work as the Winchesters themselves, as one main entity within that. And much like the Scooby Gang as well, although I guess with the Scooby Gang there's a lot more of them, and so there's more scope for them to either annoy you or you're endeared to them, or they're kind of doing one particular plot line that you like more than the other one. So there is a bit more variety, I guess, with the nature of Scooby.
For sure.
In terms of working on that whole set of ScoobyNatural, like, what was it like working with the whole entire cast, the crew, in terms of like on a production level? What was the kind of production of that whole scenario like?
Well, again, it's season 9 of a long running show, or season 13 or something. Even I don't even know now. It was a late season, so it again, it was all well oiled, and they knew what they were doing, and it was just, you get up and you go to work, and that's it. So from a production standpoint, it was reasonably easy. They could, it's interesting when you're on a set that knows how to change on the fly and a set that doesn't know how to change on the fly. And these guys, they know how to change on the fly. They know they're going to get their day. They know they're going to be able to do what they need to do just by shifting gears real quick. And, you develop kind of a shorthand language, which is not really transferable from set to set, interestingly enough. You develop a shorthand that's you're able to kind of just go, hey, I want to do the thing with okay. And you just do.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. That is really good, how it was kind of like a well-oiled machine at that point, and you do definitely get that vibe. And you kind of gave us some really good insight in the last interview about one of the Easter eggs, and that's the mystery machine car just appearing in scenes in the background.
The crew was big on moving the mystery machine around and making sure it was in as many shots as possible. it was fun to get to sort of help and go, hey, what about in here? You know, and they would go, yeah, oh, great idea. Let's put it in there. So yeah.
It would have been cool. I almost think it would have been a nice kind of, I mean, it may be cumbersome, but it would have been a cool, almost Where's Wally gimmick for them to hide one in every subsequent episode somewhere, even if it's like in a bizarre location, a bit like the Pizza Planet truck from like Pixar. That would be really cool.
It would.
But another Easter egg that we've kind of learned since, I guess it's more of a cameo than an Easter egg, since that initial interview, is in speaking with writers for ScoobyNatural, Jim Krieg and Jeremy Adams. And they kind of reveal that they stood behind Dean in the scene where your character's kind of saying the iconic line towards the end. So did you ever kind of get introduced to them, or did you ever interact with them at all?
Yeah, we I mean, I was only on that set for a couple of days, I guess, 2-3 days, I don't remember. But yeah, they were there every day, and we chatted and got along. We follow each other on Twitter, and you know, they're good guys.
I mean, it was almost like it set a new standard within Scooby. I mean, so many people, including us, kind of certainly at least use an opportunity every Halloween to go back and see it and things like that. It's a great episode, it really is. And it kind of set a standard of what people are looking for. There was kind of more of an outcry for a bit of an older, somewhat darker Scooby to start making more of an appearance. And I don't know if you've heard, but it certainly sounds like something that's going to be coming around in January with the release of a new Velma show. Is that something you've heard about?
I think that's exciting. Sorry, I think that's exciting. We'll finish your question.
Oh, sorry, I was just it was pretty much just that. I was trying to get what your thoughts were on, were of it, if it was something you'd heard about.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've heard about it, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. I don't have any part in it, so I'm not in terms of a stake in it or a role in it, but I'm excited to see it. I think that it's interesting to explore individual characters. I think that's kind of a phase that we're in, like if you look at Wednesday, for instance, and I think it's interesting to be looking at characters as individuals and what they are, separate from the kind of grouping that established them.
Yeah, I think as well, like you were saying, a lot of franchises are doing that, looking at individual characters, and it's having some great success, and it's great that they're utilizing it to be able to kind of answer that cry for a more kind of mature Scooby. And I guess to that end as well, it does bring back talks of ScoobyNatural and people wanting to see something similar again. I mean, if there was to be another ScoobyNatural crossover, is it something that you'd like to do? And do you have, 100%. I guess, any ideas for Jay if you were to return?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think Jay could kind of happily be a sort of recurring, constantly escaping from prison and being the bad guy again and again and again. That'd be great.
It certainly would. It would be great to see the return. And I guess they kind of did something with the new Trick or Treat movie where they do bring back some villains. I don't know if everyone's seen it, so I guess I'll leave it at that. But it shows that people certainly can come back, and hopefully, like you say, that would be a great concept for another ScoobyNatural.
Yeah, I mean, that would be fun if that was a whole series all the time. How great.
It really would. I would love to keep seeing that. And I guess kind of, if more Scooby in general, is it something that you'd, be interested in working on again if a new project came up or anything?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a franchise that I adore from my childhood, and it's a thrill to have gotten the opportunity to be a part of it twice, really, So third time's a charm, maybe, who knows?
That'd be amazing. I did see on Twitter, it was maybe a few months after we did that first interview, that you met the voice of Daphne Gray at a Comic-Con. Like, what is it like to interact with people that you've technically worked with but maybe not necessarily have met in person yet?
Well, in that case, I had met Gray before at a different convention, but it was prior to having worked on the project together. So it was fun to kind of reunite after several years, I guess, of not, I mean, again, we know each other online, but we don't really know each other. And then to see each other in person was fun, to go like, hey, I was on that episode too. I did this thing. And she's like, oh yeah, great. We took a picture, but we have an established rapport. So it was easy and fun and interesting. It's always neat to to connect with people from, because I mean, they record the voice in LA and we recorded the episode in Vancouver. And so, it's fun to kind of engage with people that are working in different places, and you're scene partners, but then you don't really connect until you sort of find yourself at one of these events.
Oh, it is interesting because we recently met Gray in like Telford over here. I don't know how often she comes to the UK, but she came over, and I was just so nervous. But her energy was infectious, kind of just, and it was like an all day thing as well. I just couldn't imagine having the energy to be that exciting all day, and it was amazing. Definitely one of our top memories of 2022. And I guess in spirit of this being our New Year's special, I guess I need to ask, what are your top moments of 2022?
Oh, well, there's a one my most recent top moment of 2022, I'm not allowed to discuss yet. I got cast as a series regular in a show that I am not allowed to mention yet. So I'll say that was exciting. I got to be my second on camera zombie in another show that hasn't been mentioned yet. So, there's we get these weird contracts that say, don't do anything, don't say anything yet. So I try to kind of skirt the issue and say, well, I've given you this hint, and I've given you that hint. But these things are I mean, it's just fun to be able to go to work, because you don't always.
No, absolutely.
And then Riverdale was fun at the beginning. To kick the year off like that with a series regular on a show like that is terrific as well. So, it's been like super on camera this year, and that's something that I think is really interesting about this career, is that you'll go through years and years of doing almost nothing but voice, and then suddenly it's years and years of doing on camera, and then it's so it's this weird, for me anyway, this weird kind of unpredictable shift around different styles. So that's exciting.
That makes sense. And especially like I can completely relate, like the amount of times it's been, I've got this coming up but I can't mention it. We're kind of getting expert at like tiptoeing around things. So short of mentioning things specifically for 2023, do you have any, I suppose, generic goals or aspirations for the new year?
I mean, I try not to sort of dabble in resolutions anymore so much, because I feel like that for me sets me up for failure. Like, if I say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds by March, then then I spend the rest of the year feeling like I failed because I didn't do it by March. I only lost 9 pounds. I'm stupid. Blah. And then the rest of the year just falls apart. So I try not to focus on specific goals like that. But I do always sort of throughout the year try and focus on self-improvement, try and focus on learning how to be a better person. And so I think I'll continue to do that. In terms of professionally, I hope this thing that I have just referenced comes back for a season 2. And if it does, then that'll be a thrill. And, you kind of spend a lot of time with your fingers crossed as an actor. So they're crossed tightly.
I mean, there's definitely a lot like to look out for, it seems, and obviously we wish you the best of luck with all of that, because it'll be amazing to see like more projects come along, and without a doubt, people watching this will want to see those projects as well. So,
I hope so.
Where's the best place to keep up with your work in terms of all of that that's coming?
Oh, well, I would have said Twitter until recently. Probably it still is, frankly. But I'm also on Hive and on Mastodon, and I'm trying to rekindle a Tumblr blog, but that's a bit more personal. You can find me on Instagram, although again, that's more just photos. I've been doing a lot of TikToks lately, but that's not really sort of about new stuff as much as it's about fan service. So probably just Twitter, I'm afraid. Alas.
Oh gosh, it is so crazy what's going on with social media lately. Kind of like that question's almost like, oh gosh, what are people gonna say now? But definitely everything that we do find, that's applicable, we can put in the description down below. And I guess once more, thank you so much for agreeing to return on to the new format today.
Oh, my
because
pleasure.
it's just a pleasure to do this. So thank you so much. And of course, thank you so much to everyone watching this today. And yeah, if you do want to see more, we're going to be planning on doing stuff into 2023 as well. So hopefully that all comes into fruition. So if you do want to see that, then please like, comment, and subscribe. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.